Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Uh-huh. Hello, welcome to Movie Baiters. This is technically episode 19. 18 should have already come out by now. This is not me passive-aggressively talking to my brother who just got here.
What's 18? This is 19?
Yeah, 18 would be Oddity. And some people listen to our show chronologically, which is important because we drop subtle hints about what our next movies are going to be into the podcast. We do it over, but you'd only catch if you listened linearly.
Wait. So you counted In a Violent Nature as an episode?
No, that doesn't count. The Bone Us, spelled BONE-US, does not count as an episode.
Because I gave you...
Episode 17 you recently gave me. So, like, I like dating things in time. Like, on other movie podcasts I listen to, they've said, like, ooh, the vice president hasn't picked her vice president pick yet.
Yeah,
and everyone's, like, excited. Wait, what?
You keep making it topical.
Well, it put it for the linearity of the podcast.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out what episode's missing. Because I'm pretty sure I exported what I called episode 17, so I'm trying to figure out where I'm off.
You did. 18 is Oddity. 17 was Long Legs.
Yeah.
Did Long Legs do any? So this is a debate show.
So this is okay. So I'm still saying I thought I'd exported 17.
You did.
Oddity.
No, 17 is Long Legs.
I'm saying the one I just did this week and gave you. I thought was labeled 17, so I'm confused. How that was 18.
No. Oddity is yet to come. That's 18. But we're recording.
That's the one that I
right
exported this week though and gave you. That's what I'm saying. And that's the one that I thought was labeled 17.
So if you've listened to 17, you're listening to 19 now, and we made a mistake in the past. Again,
okay, whatever.
I just want to make the podcast.
This is all just to make sure that I didn't fuck up. That's all.
I don't think you fucked up. I don't think I fucked up either. I think we're just. It's important for a debate show. That's why it's called Movie Baiters, right?
Yeah.
Is because we need to be able to communicate so we know where we disagree and agree. And we're going to talk about the movie Trap, but welcome to Movie Baiters. With the Farx Brothers, I'm Kyle.
I'm Nick.
And this is Kirk.
And we're upper Midwest filmmakers who are hosting a debate show among ourselves for the moment. We're going to start talking about guests. And again, for the linearity of the podcast, it's important we track these things. And that we now know who the vice president's pick for her vice president will be.
That's true. We do.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that in other, literally like a trap podcast I listened to today from the Ringer network of podcasts, they noted, we're recording this trap podcast before we know who the vice president's vice president pick will be. And I think it's funny to say vice president's vice president. That's mostly where I'm coming from on this.
It's, it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, where a vice president's picking a vice president.
Sure.
And you make sure to say her because we, want to acknowledge the genders.
I feel like the way it's been worded, I mean, if they're saying she's picking her VP, I mean, I think that you would be... They're not wording it that way. It's just so they can say her or she. I think they would be just as easily saying he or him if it was. I just want you to note my enthusiasm for using her. I'm sure you're right.
You're
That's exactly what I'm picking up from.
Actually, I'm more negative on like having Minnesota be represented on the national stage and hearing like.
What's wrong with Minnesota?
It's not that there's anything wrong with Minnesota. It's that now I'm going to hear things I know to be incorrect in the national space, and that will be odd. I was going to reach for an example of people talking about something in Minnesota that I found odd, but I don't have an immediate example. But it's been weird to hear national news folks start talking about Minneapolis more frequently, and the last time they did, it was not nice. But other than that.
I don't know. I mean, it'd probably be a good thing for Minnesota in the long run.
Sure. It could very well be a very profitable economic thing, and I would hope it will be. Gosh darn. So we're gonna argue about whether
topic. But back to the topic at hand.
I was so we're gonna argue about whether or not Here's how I think we could divide the debate, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts, brother Nick. Is Trap
Crap.
a good bad movie?
Oh.
Is it a bad good movie? Is it a bad movie? Or is it a good movie?
Well, it's definitely not that.
Bad movie.
Yeah. It's,
Okay.
That's
so
the
you're
best,
both going to
yeah.
argue bad, and you're going to leave me open. Is it a good bad movie or a bad good movie? And I'll just bait myself on whether or not that's true. Because there is definitely, like, were you ever bored in this movie?
I wasn't bored, but that's not, if that's that shouldn't be the only measure
I didn't
of
say
a good
it
or
was.
bad.
Why are you putting words in my mouth?
I didn't say you said that.
It's not my own
But you
thing.
asked me, and I'm
just
giving
wanna
you a
make that
nuanced
clear.
answer.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I'm not bored, and also sensing where you're going with that. Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, I'm going to say it, whether or
I
not you're
appreciate
going
you
that
try to
direction
sense
or
me.
not. You know, if all it is me not being bored, well, I can jerk off for an hour and 44 minutes and not be bored.
What would
And-
your
and let
roommate
this-
girlfriend have said about that? Because she joined us, and that was lovely.
She would probably think that's better than Trap as well.
She said it was good bad. She
Well-
said, I can't remember if she said, yeah, she said it was so bad it was good for her, because I approached her as a live music performer and said, hey, as a live music performer, did you find that movie to be more or less fun? She said, I thought it was so bad it was good. She enjoyed Josh Hart. Okay, so I'm gonna. So you weren't not entertained, just so that we can get them some things out of the way, because this is not a review show, right?
Well, yeah, I would say it's not even as cut and dry and bored or entertained. I wasn't bored, but I was so actively frustrated with every decision they made
It made you feel emotional.
that it was engaging me in that way. But I can't be bored if I'm, are you bored when you're angry? You're not bored when you're angry either.
But it's also not like if the movie's trying to fuck with you and like frustrate you and like make you go down this part of the maze, and then it's actually supposed to go that way, and like there's no logic to it. So
I don't believe it was playing that game.
Just enjoy it.
I don't believe it was playing that game. I don't think we had anything. We had no subversion. We had no. Oh, we think we're going to do this and we're going to do this instead.
I'm going to argue a point that you educated me on, because I'm dumb, but have now come to understand this. But first, do we all agree Josh Hartnett was good? And
Yeah,
we
he's great in it.
Okay, Kirk,
he's
go.
good.
No, let Kirk have a.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah, I thought he played very well with how psychotic he was. Yeah, and the quiet moments and the laughing at the end. He played a great psychopath.
Oh yeah, and that wasn't a spoiler, but we're if this is your first time listening to our show, we may spoil things because it's essential for the debate. This is not a review show. You've already watched the movie, or you don't care about spoilers, and you're listening to this for a debate. Kirk, sorry.
I mean, it was pretty vague what I said. He smiles at
I
the
know.
end. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that proves he doesn't die. You've just proven that Josh Hartnett is not killed at the end of the movie.
Sure, but I didn't say if he was caught or not.
I would wonder that coming out of the trailer, like, oh, does that guy die at the end? And I would also wonder what you have just suggested, whether or not he is caught at the end. So I think those are... Because, Nick, you weren't not wondering those things, were you? From the trailer?
Well, no, I mean, from the trailer, I'm like, oh, how are they going to end this? Are they going to end it the standard way where they take him down? Is there actually going to be some bigger twist that it's hard to see coming where he's not? I did wonder this. I did wonder, could there be a twist where he's up to something, but he's not the butcher? Like, I thought, what if this is a crazy idea. I only came up with this idea in like the first half hour of the movie. What if
Wait, you thought of an idea during the movie and you're going to give it away? Just for the linearity of the podcast, Nick doesn't typically do this, but when he does...
Yeah, I'm like, I was thinking, well, what would be a twist that could be believable? Like, what if he's not the butcher, but what if he's like a bounty hunter who's after the butcher? He's worried that that FBI is going to catch the butcher before he does.
Well, you should write that movie first of all.
Well, I'm not going to. No, especially after this one's box office is tanking. I'm not going to write a movie just like it.
It's doing acceptably for a $40 million or $30 million movie that they probably spent like 10 to 15, maybe 20 on to advertise.
It's okay, but
Well, I'm just saying that the box office.
The word of mouth is going to kill it. It's going to have a huge. I'm predicting a 60 to 70% decline in the second week.
So M. Night lists as one of those directors that has an oeuvre where you would see a rise in the like stock in his other properties, like Old is going to go get watched, and Sixth Sense, whoever's got that streaming, or Unbreakable, or Split, or like all of his other movies go up in value when he makes a new movie. So even if the initial like first dollar gross on the first weekend isn't bananas, none of them have been. Like, he is a predictable box office draw because he makes a budget movie that he knows he can make the right money back on nationally and internationally, because he also plays overseas.
Sure. I don't know what that says about the movie.
Well, you were arguing against the movie because it only made like under 16.
I'm not saying the movie is bad. I'm not saying the movie is bad because it's not making money. I'm just saying we went off on this brief tangent where you should write that movie. I'm like, no, this movie's not doing well.
Sure,
and that's
but
all.
Like, your movie would do well. I just wanted to point that out because I love you.
Maybe it would. Maybe it wouldn't.
It's not because
the one the fucking one I'm worried about is Afraid, the next Blumhouse AI one with John Cho. Have you seen the trailer for that? They showed the trailer for it.
Sully.
You missed the trailer for it because you show up during Nicole Kidman.
I try to show up during Nicole Kidman in my life every day.
What? But like, you're walking up the steps to your seat while Nicole Kidman is walking up the steps in the commercial.
Wow.
I like to pretend I'm Nicole in my mind. I even do it on my tiptoes. She's wearing heels.
You're wearing in your glittery gray pants that you wear, like your glittery Hillary Clinton like pantsuit.
Yeah, I'm business casual to the movies. I respect the.
You got everything tucked back and everything. So
I do.
No. You missed the trailer. I don't know. You can watch it online. It looks awful. They put these little.
Still worried about it?
Well, so it's. I don't know. I can't tell. Like, off the cuff, it looks like they put these little smart pods around their house that talk to them, and some female voice that talks to them.
Did no one see Disney Channel's Smart House?
What, from like? I bet that's something from like what, 2002. Something like that. No, I was saying
like history doesn't go back to 2002.
Yeah. Well, 2002 was also the year Home Alone 4. 2002 was the Smart House, so it's like we're going back in time to Home Alone 4.
Year 2000,
where imposter Kevin just make me a fucking hot fudge sundae, bitch, and the house makes him a sundae.
It's just the matterizer or whatever they call it on Star Trek. They have it in the Orville too. So
okay.
They have this thing that will just create any matter you need in the 23rd century in Star Trek.
That's cool.
Sure.
Maybe we'll get that someday.
Well, 3D printing plus being able to access any carbon or whatever other, materials you need. Sorry, Kirk. What were you gonna say?
No, just to get back on topic.
How dare you?
Trap. Or why do you think Afraid?
Oh, so it looks like an AI. It's another AI thing where instead of they used AI as a new wrapper for a killer doll with Megan, right? The same way Talk to Me used an embalmed hand as a new wrapper for the seance concept, which in itself is under the umbrella of the summoning subgenre of horror, which
Drag Me to Hell.
Kind of, yeah. You're kind of summoning something. Yeah, that was kind of a different wrapper for that.
I know the neo pastiches. I don't know the original wrapper.
Well, and my script is a new wrapper for summoning on a broader sense, not the seance, but so there's that. But it's also using the AI thing. So if their AI is just a computer, a disembodied thing, then that's fine. That's all right. And it does, whether it does. Actually, if it does well, then probably anything else using AI at all probably becomes more appealing.
Because your script involves AI.
AI is to my
component.
AI is to my script what cell phones were to Scream.
Yes,
that's how I put it.
Yeah, that's cute, and I get it.
It's cute. Yes.
I wish I didn't get it, to be honest with you, because then I could be more like inquisitive.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask Judge Kirkland Farx here. Yeah. Judge Kirkland Farx.
Kirkland. So you're the name when I buy bacon at Costco.
It's all me.
It's you.
Kirkland Farx. He makes your meats.
Right. Sure. I don't know what that means.
think about it. So Kirkland Farx, Judge Kirkland Farx.
Yes.
Do we get to ask him how many things are on his checklist? Because that's like something he said that's a better way to ask him. Remember when you were on episode 10? Because again, we're referencing
Checklist.
episode numbers, linear podcast. What?
I don't think we
As my friend Molly, or excuse me, Make Me Real, because of the title change, the Make Me Real checklist. He said, don't ask me what page I'm on. Ask me how many things are on my checklist. See? You remembered.
Yeah, I remember, but you gotta be more subtle about it.
How many? Wait, I gotta be more subtle in what way? Teach me how to be subtle, Judge Kirkland Yang.
Pivot, like we were just talking
Farx.
about his script and his worry about AI being used and afraid. And then we, I don't know, pivot to, how's your story going?
How many things are on your
different in your
checklist?
story?
Because we've got an objective way he gave us to ask him. And, like, that was his love language to us, his brothers. Kirkland Farx and Kyle Farx.
I forget what was on the checklist. We can try to drum up the checklist at a certain point. But talking about afraid.
Okay, keep going on John Cho's new Blumhouse.
Yeah. So, if it does well, I guess then that helps any concept out there that is dealing with AI. But if it does poorly, it's similar enough. The reason I worry there's a moment in the trailer where it says it's telling the son, "Let me introduce you to my friends," and it shows like a glimpse of like what looks like a ghostly apparition outside a window or something like that. And it makes me worry that they are, rather than just, this is an AI, because so far everything that they've done and all the other knockoffs, like even Full Moon has done a fucking AI.
What's Full Moon? Oh, that's
They did Puppet Master in the back in the day. They still do Puppet Master. They do trash now. It's mostly just trash.
Wait, don't we know some people that have been on?
We know people who have been
We've
in,
worked
or
with people that have
been in or have worked on
Yeah.
behind the scenes. Yeah.
So, like, let's not trash them. I mean, like,
Well, no, it's just like,
we love you as a sponsor.
They have like
no free ads.
They have
Come
like
on.
a series with like two
Kirk left.
like big-breasted, like
Kirkland.
ditzy characters, like not
Please use my full name.
not like Kendra and someone, like they're look them up sometime. They just
Kendra, who am I looking up?
No, I'm saying the type of stuff they do these days is like, they have they have their own little franchise that they make for like $5 a movie.
Oh, it's like a schlocky cheap horror movie.
Yeah, that's
but
the
they
kind
know
of
that
stuff
sells to a certain demographic.
I guess
and
it does, but at the same time they're like the new Roger Corman, but yeah.
Well, it's if you like making movies and you get paid to make movies, you should do that.
Yeah,
and it's like saying, oh well, just because you're making Hallmark movies or you're making
I feel like their model is like here are Hallmark movies. My hand is at the height of the microphone, which is on a boom pole like 3 feet off the ground, and here's Full Moon, which is down below my nutsack. Huh? In terms of like what they're paying, I feel like what they're paying people.
His genitals.
Like. I don't know. Like they go and they shoot these movies in like 10 days, if that. And
if you could get paid to shoot Make Me Real in 10 days, you'd make it work. And
no, I wouldn't. No, I would not make it. No, I would
20
not.
20 days?
That's a stretch, but maybe.
No, sorry.
But no, 30 would be ideal.
See,
but
openly negotiated.
Like, do you do something that raises the question? Do you do something just to do it, or do you wait to do it until you can do it right? Because like if you do it half-ass. Because you can at the moment, you're like, I have $250,000. That gives us 15 days of shooting, but you're not going to make a very good movie doing. Do you do it, and then you can't go back and use the same script the next year or 2 years later?
Do you so hard the other side of your face feels it right now?
What?
What?
Nick knows what I mean.
What? I didn't even hear.
If you wait to do it, like you should just do it always. Because what I thought of immediately was Children, and that relates to Trap. Because it's a girl dad movie. And I am a girl dad. Sorry, I just wanted to...
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah,
because you were talking about whether or not you would like do... If you got the opportunity to do it versus the high odds you would never do it, right? Like, making your next movie, you would make because you wouldn't not do it to do it... You got it. Okay, go.
No, here's what I'm saying. If someone came to me and said, I'll give you $250,000...
Came.
Or, I wouldn't. Here's the twist. I would not make. I would not make my friend Molly with 250. I would say, well, let's come up with something that we can make properly for 250,000.
That's a good, and that's why
and then it's a stepping stone. I would not waste a script that
So, but that's why Kirkland and I have worked on 2 in the time you've been working on this. I'm just saying.
yeah, but
not like
neither of them are
1.5.
done yet. So it's
No,
like,
yeah,
you know,
you're right. Now I've started a 3rd one as part of a sprint for I don't care, Blue Cat writers.
Blue Cat competition.
Yeah,
They're still going.
yeah. Oh, because of
Oh no,
the brother of Philip
I
Seymour
placed in
Hoffman
like the
that
top 10 I think percent in 2007 in Blue Cat.
2007.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in their Facebook group doing.
Okay.
I should post this episode in the Facebook group to say how like I'm doing in my progress. And honestly, I'm behind in my progress because
Sure.
I'm doing
Very
a sprint.
behind.
Wait, what?
We are very behind.
Who is?
We
The
collective,
podcast.
you and me, on the second
Oh yeah, but like.
script that we're working on.
You know, and that goes to Nick's point of like you can't rush the ideas and stuff. But the point is, we have a scheduled time to work on them, and all you have is the time that, to some degree, you are given by a creator or given by the evolution of whatever makes us to exist at this point. And that's why I'm never sad about the time I've given to M. Night Shyamalan and Ding Dong.
Okay. So where we went like on a tangent and then tangent off the tangent.
Do you have anything on the checklist that like you stands out to you? Like I think if it stands out to you, that to me tells you it's like that's what your mind's been working on because you've made arguments.
Well, the big checklist, but I'm saving it is when the draft is when I'm through the end of the draft is tightening up the first act. I'm not worried about the second act at all. I feel really good about the second act. The second act, it's not too long, and neither.
That's what
doesn't.
she said.
Yeah, it's just right. It's Goldilocks. It's just right.
Yeah.
4.5 inches.
I was making
Perfect
fun of someone
size.
at the gym
Yeah.
today with 4 inches because we have to hold our legs off the floor by 6 inches.
Yeah.
I said, hey, my friend over here only has 4.
Like, can you stoop down and like hang your dick off the floor so I can accurately measure 4.5 inches so I can hang my legs that high? No. And it also doesn't drag either. It's not, it's, you hear about the too short 2 acts because they don't.
I thought you were talking about your nuts.
That doesn't drag. Yeah. that
well,
was
you could,
perfect.
yeah. Screenplays are like cock and balls in every way, I guess.
I just feel that M. Night Shyamalan.
They can be too short. They can be too long. They can drag in the middle. They can drag anywhere. Yeah, your second act can be like a saggy nutsack, where it's just you're walking on the beach and it's just leaving a trail in the sand. You got your footprints and there's a little line in between your footprints.
So when do you think they go to the twist in this movie? I couldn't clock it. Was it the
There's
end? Was it
no
part of the
twist.
second act where they go to the house? When they get out of the concert hall, because like basically whether or not you like this movie, I think turns on if you like that twist or not. I know Kirkland Farx does not like it, and you don't like it either.
I wouldn't call it a twist. For
Good.
one.
Well, okay, go
It's
ahead.
not a twist.
Explain.
I mean, it's just the thing that happens. You just find out that it's his wife, spoiler, who kind of set him up.
Okay.
In a way.
Can we take 2 steps back on that? So like the movie is a Josh Hartnett it shows how great he is, but he is always playing off of a different co-star at different points in the movie. First is his daughter, then it's the pop star, and then it's his wife. Fantastic from an acting point of view, I believe. Like I think actors would like working for M. Night because even though his like dialogue and stuff is stilted, weird, whatever you want to say, it's just
Alien.
weird.
Alien.
Alien. Wait, are you waltzing all over these nuts about like it's weird? So weird is bad. Like because M. Night's weird, he's bad. Because I agree he's weird, but I don't think he's bad.
Like,
I think it's just not like natural to reality.
Also known as weird.
Yeah.
And like if there's no reason for it to, if you're supposed
I like
if they're supposed to be real people in a real world, that's
Name 3 M. Night Shyamalan movies you like.
well, obviously Sixth Sense.
Obviously.
I've never seen Wide Awake with Rosie O'Donnell.
Cool.
I like Signs.
Throw water on him.
good.
So Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Kirk's an Unbreakable guy. Are you a stand for Sixth Sense?
Yeah, I like Sixth Sense.
Okay, so that's 2. So it's the early stuff. So you're like,
Well, and then
what
I
of
think
the new stuff do you either of you like?
I liked. I'm trying to decide if I liked The Visit or Split more. I didn't really care for Glass.
So you like both of those? They're both great if that's what you're looking for, which is like twisty-turny kind of like thrillers that are not exactly like it's horror my mom would watch.
That's fine, but I think the thing about both of them is that I think I'd go with Split. I mean, I didn't really care for Glass. It was just too. It was too all over the place and too.
Here's a thing Kirk and I were talking about that I think you. So I was saying that Joss Whedon said he wanted to make Avengers 2 as a smaller, more intimate movie after the massive success of 2012's The Avengers.
Sure.
And obviously that's not the direction they went.
Sure.
Whereas Glass is intimate in ways you don't expect, and it's spectacle in ways you don't expect, and that it subverts a lot of things. Like,
but I would argue that's his biggest flaw, that how small Glass was.
I just don't remember much of it. Like,
well,
I don't.
do you remember how Bruce Willis's story comes to a conclusion
Yeah,
without you spoiling it in case
It's
somebody...
fucking 5 years old. He dies. He drowns in a puddle.
Yeah, I thought that was fucking sweet.
That Bruce Willis's like mainstream A-list like big budget Hollywood movie career ends with him drowning in a puddle.
That's a great
That's
metaphor.
terrible. Metaphor for what?
It's about how Bruce Willis will live out his life drowning because he can't communicate with the rest of the world because he's got aphasia.
I don't think M. Night knew that he was going to be diagnosed with aphasia. Or
but
however
in
you pronounce it.
retrospect, do I get to go, oh man, this is made me kind of circumspect about the time I have and what I can do with that time.
You can't give that movie credit.
Yeah, you can take.
I'm not giving it credit.
You can
I'm
say.
just saying
You can
it's
say.
like,
Well, here's
now
what you can
it
do.
looks smart.
Here's what you can do.
Smart.
No. Here's
Pay
what
my
you can do.
taxes.
You can say I
paid my taxes.
I change how I like this movie because in hindsight it becomes coincidentally.
Well, I said I liked the movie for. I said it was a feature. Kirk said it was a bug. That it's weird. In that
Glass is
Glass subverts your expectations on what should be spectacle, what should be intimate, what should be banal, and you know what I'm saying.
I just don't remember enough of it to even make
that's
any
fine. It was
comments.
pink in some scenes.
I know there's a
Sarah
lot of pink.
Paulson's in it, and
There's a lot of pink. Yeah, she's good. Like everyone in it is
Fucking
good.
love Sarah Paulson.
Everyone in it is good, but like I just don't remember. And I just, you know, at the end, I was just like, was Anya Taylor-Joy even in it? She wasn't in it at the end, wasn't she?
Anya Taylor.
See, we don't even remember if Anya Taylor
no, I
fucking
don't
Joy.
think Anya Taylor-Joy is in it because she was too big by that
Actually,
point.
no, she was in it. But
Where is she in it? Oh yeah, you're right.
But I don't.
But this is around the time she's in New Mutants, okay? And you haven't even seen that shit.
That
And
doesn't
it's
matter.
not bad. It's actually an interesting
It doesn't
swing.
matter if she's in
And
New Mutants or not in New Mutants or what the fuck she's doing.
My point is just I'm
like
I have different memories of Anya
the point is that we
Taylor-Joy.
couldn't remember if she's in it or not. Like,
Well,
what does that say about the
I genuinely haven't
film?
watched Glass in 2 or 3 years. I do own it on disc.
No, but
because
movies that
I
are
like
good,
and
you
relish it.
remember.
Unbreakable, I didn't remember a lot until I watched it again because of Split. Split, I didn't remember well until I watched it again because of Glass. So,
Yeah, but I remember Unbreakable. That's an amazing superhero movie.
Kirk,
Yeah.
spit that shit.
That's
Haktua.
it. I don't need to talk anymore about how Unbreakable is a good movie.
Well, why is Unbreakable good and Trap isn't good? I think is an interesting question because there's a lot of bullshit in Unbreakable, and what you're gonna like nitpick about is they do a lot of stupid things in Trap. Like it's the FBI in this looks like the Secret Service team guarding Trump in Pennsylvania because they suck.
Well, Unbreakable sets its universe in a world where comics. You know, you already know the world.
They exist.
Comics
because
exist.
of Glass. He explains that.
Yeah, and going in, this is the world that you're gonna be in. You know, heroes are probably gonna be based off this comic, or heroes exist, And that's
I
fine.
would
The
argue
small-
Unbreakable makes you question if heroes exist because, like, why did Bruce Willis, like, the trailer for Unbreakable is like, did Bruce Willis survive because of some random happenstance? Or is he a superhero? Wouldn't you say that's at least what the first 30 minutes of Unbreakable, a less than 2 hour movie, is?
No, I would argue it's like him trying to come to terms with being a superhero. He knows he has these powers, more or less. He knows it because he avoids water.
We don't find that out till later, though, that he knows. We find in the narrative, we find it. Nick, do you recall Unbreakable very well? I have it in 4K. Let's end this podcast.
The general arc of it, I remember. Yeah,
That
like
Sam Jackson's the
he's
bad
like
guy?
how the yeah, and how the why am I the only one who survived this train crash? And
He has an inkling. He knows something about himself. That he's a hero. He's invulnerable. He can do things that.
That's
other
why I
people
think
can't.
it's so interesting that he makes Josh Hartnett a serial killer at a concert with his daughter. Because we all know M. Night went to a fucking concert with his pop star daughter at some point in his life and disassociated at a moment and then was thinking of like Silence of the Lambs. It was like, what if I did Silence of the Lambs at a concert? Because I'm at a concert with my daughter.
this is not silent. Not every movie with a serial killer is Silence of the Lambs.
A lot of people are making that comparison. I don't agree. Other than serial killer, I guess that's the connection. But sorry, Kirk, go ahead.
Oh wait, but like Samuel L. Jackson's character is super smart and unbreakable.
Yes, Glass is smart and cool.
Yeah, sure. But then
Bad
you
guy.
have this character who's supposed to be super smart and trapped. He gets away with mostly everything. He finds a way to talk his way out of things. And then at the very end, it just turns out that, his wife was suspecting something. And then it's just too coincidental. Like,
As a married person, I really like that. Just to be clear, sorry, just keep going.
But it's not even that. Oh, I thought you were the killer. It's I thought you were cheating on me, not that you were the killer. This is a little too.
Well, he's weird, so she
No.
investigates, and the more common answer would be that he's cheating.
Is he?
We
weird
deal
though?
with this with Oddity. Like, Oddity, Longlegs, and Maxine are just, like, such a weird combination of movies to have watched right before Trap. And I'm not mad about it. I'm just pointing out that it's weird that this is what the summer gave us around Deadpool and Wolverine and Despicable Me 4, which I know you two haven't seen.
Yeah, but I don't think he's. Given how well he hides his true self, his second life. Maybe if the wife had a different way of finding out that he was the killer, and not just coincidentally, you might have been cheating on me, so I'm just gonna leave these ticket stubs here.
Is that what it was? Like, what was? Because I'm trying to
She
remember.
tore a ticket stub, but didn't give him the seat
the
number
receipt?
because that's
Yeah.
why they didn't know where he was.
So-
At the same
Wait,
time,
so why?
okay.
What was her motivation
Wait.
for?
Can I make my argument of something you educated me on that makes me think of how you should enter this movie? It's
Go
going
for
to
it.
help explain what we're talking about now.
Yeah, go for it.
Haley Mills. Who is Haley Mills? Will you explain that?
She is. Well, I mean, she's the girl who played twins, but in the original Parent Trap. I don't know if M. Night Shyamalan was like, "Oh, Parent Trap. This movie's called Trap. I'm gonna get the girl from the Parent Trap." I feel like my first thought was that he
I
tried
think
to.
he was, just to be clear. but
He could have
continue.
been. That seems like something he would
And
do.
that's the lens with which you should enter this movie. Are you having fun? Yes. End of thought process. Continue.
If it wasn't insulting me left and right, my intelligence left and right, I would
You have
have
not seen
fun.
Deadpool versus Wolverine, which insulted me because the advertising was, "Hey, you're going to find out what's going on with the MCU." You're stupid. Why would you think you're going to find?
I can't speak to that. I haven't
No,
seen it.
I know you can't, and that's like,
So-
and no offense, but like to go back to episode 1, the Jurassic Park 7 episode.
Yeah.
Is that I couldn't argue Deadpool 2 as an argument for why David Leitch would be better than Gareth Edwards because you haven't seen Deadpool 2, which up until now was like the highest grossing R-rated movie.
Well,
globally.
yeah, but I don't remember. Did you not argue? It doesn't matter if I've seen Deadpool 2. If you've seen Deadpool 2 and it gives you a reason to think that he'd be a good director for Jurassic Park 7, you could make that argument.
This
So
is
why didn't you?
Yeah, I would argue this is why I'd be a bad politician is because I would consider the other person too much instead of just how to like destroy them. And for the purposes of debate, I think meeting in the like my goal in a debate is to, and I'll actually add a whole wrinkle to why I think we do this. I think you've argued against me arguing the other side of an argument. I think that's the best way to show that you understand the nuances of going one way or another. Let's say there's two legitimate sides to an argument. Like, should we build a water treatment plant and raise taxes by 2% or 3%? There's two different sides and they're reasonable. We should listen to them both. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to argue both sides. That's why being able to argue arguments that you don't necessarily agree with but could logic your way through is important for rhetoric and advancing ideas.
Yeah, but that's different than what happens here. Like that's like, I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like here are the pros. Here you're talking about pros and cons of something. Like here are the, and someone on the if we're talking about politics. And
I said water treatment plant, go 2% tax or 3%.
Well, that bleeds into politics though. So like,
I was government. Let's just say
someone's going to say, well, here are the pros of this that I agree with. But here are the cons of it. But here, like...
We know we're going to get more sediment from the industrial plant we put up 2 miles from the river. So
that's
we should
that's not
3% instead of 2%.
That's not the same as taking a...
argument to why you should enjoy trap and not say
saying like here's why this
bad. It's either here's good why this movie or bad good. I can't no. It's not good.
Here's why this movie's bad writing wasn't bad, right? That's not the same as saying here's why this movie's bad writing wasn't bad.
Can I drop a
what it's more equivalent to is me when I come out of one of the like recent Scream movie and I can talk about the bad. I shit all over the writing. I say the bad writing's bad. It's going to be bad in Scream 7, I'm sure. But I can say I still enjoy the movie, but I will acknowledge that the writing is bad. And here's why I can enjoy the movie overall. It's not that's not the same thing as talking about a water treatment plant. Like, here are the pros and cons. It's like I'm acknowledging this thing is bad. This aspect of something is bad, but there's enough other things that I found good where I can enjoy it.
And you're saying you couldn't have done that with Trap? Or yes or no? I'm sorry. I don't.
It's too well. We went off on a thing of talking about like the value of looking at both sides. And
just I also want to be talking about the why of why we do this.
And it's different than assuming like putting yourself putting on different costumes. Like, well, now I'm on this side. Well, now I'm on this side. Like with a mat.
I do find that valuable, though. Do you not agree that can be valuable?
It can be, but
not the same thing.
Let's let Kirk have it.
Yeah, it's valuable, sure, but I don't think that's the point of this podcast. Though we're just kind of here to debate what we thought about the movie, and we can stick to our side. We can pick a side and debate it without needing to, jump over or win, quote unquote, the debate. We could just talk about it.
Clearly, some of the positions I have taken, I'm not trying to win the debate, but I would argue that being able to take multiple views on a movie has enhanced my enjoyment of movies and has made me better at helping to make movies because it's a team sport.
At the end of the day, though, you only have one viewpoint that's yours. You can briefly step into a different viewpoint and say, well, I'm the type of person who likes, let's say we're talking about comedies, and you have like Woody Allen comedy, and then you don't have
Woody Allen comedy anymore. Sorry.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You have like this more like highbrow comedy, but then you have like a comedy that's just all dick and fart jokes, right? You like what you like.
The best comedy ever? What?
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. And you have what you like. You can try to briefly put yourself in the shoes of like someone who just wants to hear farts and dick jokes. And like a well-timed one, like a good fart joke, good dick joke, and fine. But like, and I wouldn't want to just watch like fucking Annie Hall over and over and over again.
I have an unwrapped. I have a wrapped Annie Hall Blu-ray in my house right now.
I'm afraid to. I can't do my Woody Allen.
Diane Keaton, I know you're like 15 years younger than me. I would just like you to be in this movie with me. I went into Mike Tyson there. I'm sorry. I gotta bite off Evander Holyfield's ear. I'm sorry.
Then once we wrap, we're going to make love. Once we wrap the picture, we're gonna make love.
Jeez. But like, imagine Mike Tyson and Woody Allen having a conversation. You know, like, yeah, the way bit of ear. Oh, that's so rude. I'm so
and then you go into adopt a daughter, and then I'm gonna fall in love with her, and then we're gonna make love.
But now switch to your Mike Tyson.
I've never done Mike Tyson.
Who's venerated in society because he has a cool podcast. And I've never purchased any product that is Mike Tyson.
Oh, really? Oh, you haven't? Oh, you haven't?
No.
Really? Nothing that you like smoked on your deck? No. Nothing like that?
What are you talking about?
What were the shorties you get?
Bitches. The existence of these things could exist. I don't know. But Trap is a fine movie. And I'm going to... Okay, this is a trap argument, Nick. This is a trap argument. But I'm going to ask you a question.
Whoa. We didn't finish up the last thing.
Okay. You finish. So I'll let you finish, Taylor.
I'm talking about viewpoints. And like at the end of the day, you kind of really only have one. Like you can temporarily put yourself in someone else's shoes and be like, oh, yeah, I'm a big Woody Allen guy. I want to watch Manhattan over and over and over.
Why is that your example? Pick anything else. I'm sorry.
Annie Hall, fine. Over and over again, and you know, or I just want to watch a dick and fart movie over and over again. But like,
oh, I see the difference you're making. One is very heady, and one is like, duh.
Well, I'm just trying to pick extremes here.
Yes.
And you can like both in different measures, but like I'm saying, eventually, you really only have one viewpoint. Like you can try to like put yourself in the shoes of like some opposing viewpoint or some parallel viewpoint, but it's not your viewpoint. You know, you only have one of yours. That's yours.
Yeah. Can I just give you any other example than Woody Allen that's along?
Sure.
Nora Ephron, the lady who did When Harry Met Sally. Wait, is that Nora Ephron? Nancy Myers.
No, Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner directed When Harry Met Sally.
Okay, but who wrote it? Nora Ephron wrote it.
Maybe she did. I don't know who she wrote it.
But my point is that I'm just naming other like heady directors who happen to be women. I didn't like specifically pick them. They're just the two I first thought of, and they do something similar to Mr. Allen, who doesn't make domestic movies anymore.
Wait, what? I'm not following.
Because Woody Allen's been canceled for several reasons.
Well, sure, he still made a movie in the last couple of years, but I don't know if it's called canceled.
Like, okay, so Woody Allen has a very specific type of movie he makes, and M. Night Shyamalan has a very specific.
Always has the same font in his posters. There's like a fucking Woody Allen
M.
font.
Night, you're saying?
No, M. Night doesn't do that, but like Woody Allen's posters all have the same fucking serif font. Like, look it up. Look at his posters; they're all the same font. That's just an observation.
You're concluding the point. What is the arcing point that you're?
I was talking about. Well, I was talking about viewpoints.
Okay,
and then we went back to like.
Like dick and fart jokes versus, let's say, Nora Ephron and Nancy Myers.
My point is that people you really only have one viewpoint that's yours, even if you can put yourself in other people's viewpoints, assume their viewpoints, just to see why they might like something. But at the end of the day, there's only one viewpoint that's yours.
No, wait, what's that word for like you're not supposed to like take something of another culture's
appropriation.
Yeah, you can't appropriate somebody else's experience.
Well, it's not even that. It's just about like I could see like, oh, I can understand why some people might like
no, I'm driving towards what
Army of the Dead, where every shot's out of focus because Zack Snyder is running around with a fucking f.95 fucking lens like he's Stanley Kubrick, and probably pulling focus himself by hand like I do when I fucking.
Just for the record,
I can see why people like Marvel. I don't really give a shit about Marvel, but I can see why people like it. But that's never going to be my viewpoint. So that's what I'm saying about viewpoints. It's like you only have one that's yours. You can shift between them only as costumes where like you're
I
temporarily.
can't shift my perspective.
No. Something can make your opinion change over time. Opinions don't usually change instantly, though. About anything, I don't think.
I think my opinion over time has changed about M. Night Shyamalan when he was doing After Earth and The Last Airbender. I tried to watch The Last Airbender, maybe not in a movie theater, but around that same time when one could have done so on a computer for a variety of reasons. And like that wasn't even interesting. And whereas that's why I like movies in theaters, is because I have made the commitment to watch something.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the point.
Going back to the point.
Okay, you hit your point.
Well, I'm trying to.
I'm sorry.
Then we talk about After Earth.
It's a great movie.
Sure.
No, it sucks.
I mean, like,
I've never seen it.
Opinions can change over time, but rarely do they change instantly. I don't think. Like I've it was a gradual process for me to like other genres other than horror. So that was very gradual.
I think it's clear to the audience, yes.
And like the genres I still don't like. I don't gravitate toward. I'm not going to go see Horizon Part 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or however many.
No, it's supposed to be 4, but it might be reduced to 3, and they took 2 off the schedule so people have a chance to discover one.
Okay, great. I'm not gravitating towards seeing them, but I can see why other people do. I can put myself in their shoes. Why is that? Does it matter when I'm talking about viewpoints? Like, well,
just like that you can show you understand the viewpoint in like one. I believe that you can, but I'd like you to demonstrate it for the audience just so they understand.
I can just, well, I mean, that's kind of speaking, it circles back around to my point where like it's not what I'm into, but I just understand that there are people who are into that.
Oh, so you can't see it, but okay, see, I get it.
And it doesn't matter. I just know that there are people who like that genre. Just like I know there are people who are going to be more visually oriented and like want to just watch flashy special effects. So there's the people who gravitate toward Marvel movies.
I would say that's why some people gravitate towards Marvel movies that may or may not.
Or just some like, everything I want to be on the edge of my seat with a mid-credit scene or 5 mid-credit scenes because, whatever.
There's only 5 in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Only 5. Okay.
I'm just saying there's only one movie where there's been 5 post-credit scenes.
So
you're saying that you can only understand the viewpoint, the lens through which you appreciate and understand movies, and it doesn't change rapidly in your experience. It changes gradually over time. Is that a good summation?
The viewpoint going back to what I was saying about how only one of those viewpoints is actually truly yours. You cannot genuinely have 2 differing opinions on things. You can weigh pros and cons, but that's not the same thing.
No, that's a sign of intelligence. People argue is that you're able to hold 2 competing thoughts in your head.
That's not the same. That's not the same as having the one that you settle on, though. And this is the one you live by.
There's opinions and principles, and anything pertaining to movies, I feel, is easy to push into the realm of opinion because it's not like a principle I have to live by. It's not like how I invest my money or something. It's just like what I choose to spend my time on intellectually. Hit the sound effect.
What sound effect?
Let's see.
Can number 2. No, I think if like say like my opinion is like I want better writing in movies, and that's my like I never stop thinking that we should have better writing. Hold on.
Can you talk towards trap as you talk about this?
I will get there.
Okay.
But in general, like when we're talking about viewpoints, that will never stop being my viewpoint. But where I branch off and is like I can get how people enjoy a movie that doesn't have good writing. Because I can admit to enjoying movies that don't have good writing, like the Scream movies, the new Scream movies.
Because you have nostalgia for the franchise?
That's part of it. They end up, they do something for me that keeps them tolerable and enjoyable, even though the writing is terrible. So it's not about, there's a difference there. It's not about bad writing. It's about saying, I want good writing. I'm not getting good writing, but I'm getting something else that allows me to like the movie, because there's more than just the writing to a movie. I mean, writing's important. I'm always going to argue that writing's important, but if there's enough there that can make me enjoy it like that, and then that makes me realize, okay, well, I can see how other people enjoy other movies that I'm not interested in, like the Marvel movies, even when, you know, the writing's probably terrible, and like they it's not that I can pinpoint exactly what they like. I'm just saying, like, if I'm a big stickler for writing and I can like these movies that I acknowledge have bad writing, then I can not sympathize or empathize, but like I can start to envision how other people might like other movies that aren't hitting the marks that I would like them to hit, like in writing department or whatever else. Even if I can't say exactly what they like about them because I'm not them, but I can start to understand how you can still like a movie even when it's failing in some aspect. So, but at the end of the day, my viewpoint is still, you should have good writing. Good writing's still important. That's not going to change, at least not like instantaneously.
Nor should it. No one's disagreeing with you.
So I'm saying it's not about harboring. It's not like a Jekyll and Hyde. Like, oh, I harbor two viewpoints and I believe them both equally. You can't do that, really. You can't harbor a viewpoint and multiple viewpoints and actually believe them all equally. You just can't.
I'm not going to argue that point at the moment because that's specific to me, and we didn't talk about Trap. I want to talk about Trap, but I'm going to talk about it in a weird way. That cool? And I'm going to sort of agree with you in a new way.
Go ahead.
So, first I want to set the table again for the bait. Because it's a debate show, and we got to make that clear to people. You guys are arguing this is a bad movie.
Yeah.
I am baiting with myself. Is it a good bad movie or a bad good movie? And I just need to prove one to prove both of you wrong. Just so that I'm being clear on the stakes of the debate.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. There are plenty of good bad movies that I like, and this is not one of them. So
that's fine. That's not what we're talking about yet.
I'm just saying.
Do you want to give examples?
I'm just saying. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we have to define bad, but like movies that wouldn't be.
Why are these movies successful and Trap is not? Would be the question. Because that proves your point of the debate, and I still haven't gotten to my point. Sorry, Kirk, you go.
I
go
don't
off.
think box office numbers really attribute to a film's. Sure, it's a big factor. When you say a movie's a flop, but you can still.
Scott Pilgrim and the End of the World. Allison Pill is in this movie. God damn it. Sorry, continue.
Sure, but even if a movie flops, that doesn't mean that it was a bad movie.
Agreed. We are saying the same thing. Sorry.
But I wouldn't argue that the numbers had much to do with this movie.
What numbers?
Box office numbers.
I think the box office is fine.
Well, it could have done super well, and I would still hate everything I hate about it.
And I don't think that matters to Nick but for as a debate point, sure, it's an argument of if this movie holds at like if it makes what did it have to be 7 to 8 next weekend, that would mean that it held at better than 50% ish. And that would be huge. Like Twister's got props for holding at 55% to Deadpool and Wolverine. And wait, did you see Twisters yet?
No.
And you didn't see Deadpool and Wolverine?
No.
So here's part of the thing is that if you saw Deadpool and Wolverine and Twisters, Twisters doesn't even have them fucking kiss, nor is there any bloodless violence, and lots of people die. There's nothing like the cows, so they take no swings. No.
A few people die in the movie.
Yeah, but they don't take any chances. They just give you the same thing, but updated. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I'm not saying I wasn't entertained. I'm saying it's not even interesting to debate because it's like going to a fast food restaurant. That is what I expected when I came here, and I got what I expected. And that's fine. Deadpool and Wolverine. It's, oh, I knew I was going to Disney World because they moved the attraction I wanted to see to Disney World. I'm going on a theme park ride. I waited in line too long. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to. put it
I'm
back
saying that
to-
what are we doing?
Trap was interesting compared to these last 2 weekends because it did something new.
Oh.
And it was interesting and weird.
Well,
So
yeah, okay.
And so I just want you to get to your it's bad or good,
Wait,
or
no,
it's bad.
but
Good.
if
Sorry,
we
Kirk.
both say that Nick and me agree that it's bad, why do you think it's good, bad, or what was the other option for you?
So it's good, bad, or bad, good. Like, is it bad at being good, or is it good at being bad?
And give me your reasons.
I think
Either or.
that the premise is stupid. To some degree,
Sure.
kind of like Friday the 13th or whichever Friday the 13th sequel Nick thinks is the best. Take whichever Friday the 13th sequel Nick thinks is best as a horror movie, and the concept for however they brought Jason back is stupid. But I knew I was going to see that kind of movie. M. Night brings that brand with him, and I'm saying, I know I'm going to see a movie with twists, it's got a wild premise, and people will not talk in a normal way, and like things are not like it's got a verisimilitude with reality, but it's not. It's off. It's weird, kind of like The Sixth Sense was, so that you didn't see, oh, Bruce Willis is dead the whole time.
I would argue that M. Night Shyamalan's movies, I don't think he doesn't think his movies are dumb, though. I think he tries to make intelligent movies that just falls on his plate.
Okay, so you get the Haley Mills point, though, that like he cast someone from The Parent Trap because he's making a movie that is literally a Parent Trap.
We
Like, I
don't-
think
we don't
he
know
thinks
that.
That is
We know that,
funny.
though.
We don't
That's
know that. Here's
conjecture.
my other theory about that. Like he cast, Betty Buckley.
Betty Buckley is who for the audience?
She is she's been in at least 2 of M. Night Shyamalan's movies. She was the psychologist in Split, and she was the lady whose house they go to in The Happening, who gets the plant virus or whatever the fuck, and she walks around the house. She's banging her head around the outside of the house. She kills herself.
I have not seen The Happening.
Okay,
I
you've seen
want to.
but you've
I'll
seen
be honest.
Split, and she's the
I
psychologist.
love
in
Split.
and she's the psychologist in Split. She was the gym teacher in Carrie.
So
original
he's
Carrie.
got like a.
So he likes, so it's like he has a thing. I respect like casting people, like unconventional casting choices, where you're casting an actress who, like, when was the last time they were in something, like kind of Rob Zombie would kind of do the same thing.
Here I'll give a recent example.
Okay.
Alex, who we worked with, is like, she looks like a, who was that actress?
Shelley Duvall.
She looks like Shelley Duvall. I'm like, when have you heard of a Shelley Duvall type? That to me is an
Sure.
example of, and Alex will not be upset by me saying that because she told me specifically once she was pleased that we made
Sure.
that comparison. And I said, well, Nick might argue that he made it before I did.
I don't think
I would argue
I don't think I ever came up with that on my own.
I did it.
Someone else did, and I'm just like, oh, I guess I see it.
I think it was me because I had just watched The Shining with my wife.
Sure.
When there was that. What?
No, I was just laughing the way you mispronounce a lot of things.
What are you talking about?
The Shining.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Okay. The Shining.
How would you pronounce The Shining?
The Shining.
Whoa! Do you want to get sued, boy?
There's one N in the title, which would be The Shining.
Yeah, it's the Simpsons joke. I'm literally wearing a Simpsons shirt today.
Well, we didn't
that's
see that episode, and
What?
they can't see your shirt on the podcast.
I know.
so-
That's why I'm telling them.
Okay.
But I'm never gonna not make that joke because it's a joke I learned when I was 11, and
Okay.
it makes me happy.
That's fine.
Thank you.
The Kyle classic.
So does masturbation, probably, but you don't do that in front of all
So
of us.
bad, good versus good, bad.
Yeah.
So how I would pivot that to what Nick's been talking about is like, can you have good writing and bad directing? Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Can you have bad writing and good directing? Obviously. No.
No, what would you call trap? What would you
The
classify
the
it
the
as?
concept is ridiculous. So like some of the writing, you have to suspend disbelief. When I go to a movie, I know I'm watching a movie, so I don't expect the movie to be, again, exactly how reality is. I expect it to do something that's entertaining. And if what is entertaining is not efficacious with what is real, I don't care. I do what makes it entertaining more than what makes it real. And I'm in most, like, some movies I'm thinking really hard. In an M Night movie, I'm trying to think, where's he gonna go with this? And like, they already proved that they had Nick thinking in one direction, which was cool, and Nick's got cool ideas, but like, that wasn't the direction he was going. And he zigged when you expected him to zag.
That's not credit to M. Night Shyamalan, though.
Yeah, well, no, I'm crediting you for being a creative person with your ideas, and I said they were cool. But what's cool is that he zigged when you thought he was going to zag.
He didn't zig at all. He just stayed on a straight line.
Again, how do we identify a twist? I don't think there is a twist in this movie.
No, there's no really.
Twist in this movie?
There's no twist in this movie.
Nothing.
It's a twisty-turny movie, but okay. The
biggest twist is that his daughter becomes the main character for like 20 minutes.
That was weird, and I don't think Ariana Grande would exactly be like, hey, I have been talking to Clarice Starling, who is now in her 60s, and she's been on the hunt for her Buffalo Bill here she's got 10 of them already, because this is the 11th sequel of Haley Mills's movie. I actually want to see a prequel movie with Haley Mills's character, but younger, and it's the lady from Long Legs.
What?
Okay.
Because she's an FBI agent.
It's Micah Monroe ages it up to become Haley Mills. What the fuck?
No, you see, so Long Legs is Trap 1,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
and we're watching Trap 11. Of Haley Mills.
Too much.
From Haley Mills's character.
All right.
Because we can see
I bet The Parent Trap is actually secretly a prequel to Trap because she changed her name and became an FBI profiler.
Well, one of the twins.
After Parent Trap,
one of the twins, but not both of the
after
twins.
Parent Trap, and then the other one became Micah Monroe.
Dude, this could get like a soap opera.
Parent Trap, and it's 3 sequels, made for TV sequels in the fucking 80s, which I looked up.
TV sequels.
Oh, they're the fucking worst.
Omen 4?
Well, we've talked about this before. That there's a different breed. It's a very short-lived breed of quote unquote made for TV sequels. In fact, there are only 2 examples: Omen 4 and Psycho 4.
And we were going to talk about Psycho 2 in relation to this movie.
Yeah.
Psycho 2 is terrible.
Psycho 2 is great.
It's
terrible.
Boy,
bait hard.
It's terrible.
Bait.
I will take Psycho 2 over the original any day.
Okay, Kirk, make an argument against Psycho 2. I have not seen Psycho 2. Convince me. I'm the dilettante who knows nothing.
Maybe we should avoid spoilers, though, for Kyle.
No, I don't care. I actually believe, I strongly believe that if a spoiler is what makes a movie, then the movie's no good. And you could have told me he gets away in this movie. Again, we said there would be spoilers. And I would still enjoy it because it's like, how?
Well, I agree with that to a bit because I rewatch Psycho 2 like pretty much annually. So, and I know,
and we will do a bonus for Psycho 2, which will not count as an episode.
And obviously, I know the twists, so it's obviously a movie can be.
Can we do it with your roommate girlfriend?
I'm trying to get her to watch Psycho because she said let's go see
as a bonus.
Let's go see Psycho when they were doing it at the Riverview Theater. They were doing Hitchcock, and that's when we also saw The Birds in the same week. And like The Birds is fucking terrible, but like
hot take.
Psycho, it's fucking garbage.
Well, and can we pivot into how like M. Night is basically Hitchcock, and it's kind of cool that someone's got a 50s sensibility in the 2024s?
That's a stretch. I don't know. Are you calling M. Night Hitchcock?
I'm saying that they
hopes you do.
Similar functions in the cinema marketplace of my mom, my wife, my niece, if they're aware of the movie, have an impression as the same, my mom who's a grandma, my wife who's a mom, and my niece who's a child, they would have like a similar perspective in 1950 of Hitchcock, M. Night Shyamalan. Like, in the, like, the normie space, like, we're weird because we see a lot of movies and we like seeing movies. We see more than 2 movies a year. We are weird. And probably the people listening to this podcast are weird because they either like movies or like listening to people bullshit.
Sure, but when people hear Hitchcock, they usually assume a good movie, and then when they hear Shyamalan,
No.
you usually expect a twist, and it's not going to be
Why
good.
do you say that people assume a good movie when they hear Hitchcock?
He's got a better batting average for better movies than Shyamalan.
Nick, is that true?
I
Well,
think so.
I think he worked a lot.
I haven't
And that,
watched
like Shyamalan, Shyamalan will be remembered for decades. Hitchcock's been remembered for decades. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, so Psycho holds up for a movie that's 60 years old. Birds does not.
For a movie about a guy who's got problems with his mom,
Yeah.
like Trap.
I still like Psycho 2 more than Psycho.
But where would you rank
But as
Trap
far
against Psycho?
Well, if we're talking, no, we're talking in the moment. We're talking about Hitchcock. Like what I've seen of Vertigo and of North by Northwest. Like I don't give a shit. I don't like. It's all these guys in suits with their fucking transatlantic accents.
So what I notice about the people in
Like-
my life who love Vertigo,
Yeah,
who are, weirdo introverts like you guys. Well, not Kirk. Kirk's
Yeah.
a cool extrovert.
Oh, thanks.
But you're welcome. Well, I mean, you had to be, right? Like, is that they're guys who like to read and talk about books that I feel too dumb and bored to read. Does that make sense? So, like, I've seen Vertigo in, like, 35 millimeter.
okay.
And so it was like film,
Right,
projection.
Actual film projection. Yeah.
Actual film. Yeah, well, what... And
Does
I would
that-
argue
does that
that's
take
why
the
this movie is good versus...
Does that take the transatlantic accent out of it when it's projected on 35 millimeter? Or?
You don't like the do an impression of the transatlantic accent.
So Jimmy Stewart is in this movie in the 70s, I think.
Oh, Jimmy Stewart's in a movie?
The plane is like stuck on the bottom of the ocean. I haven't seen it.
It's not the Flight of the Phoenix, is
But
it?
I read that and I'm like, well, I can imagine they carted in they dug up Jimmy Stewart to come like make an extended cameo in this movie.
Stop hitting me with that shovel! Sorry.
And I imagine there's probably a scene. This movie, the plane is stuck on like it's stuck on like a cliff underwater.
What is this movie called?
I forget. I wish I
Is that
knew.
Flight of the Phoenix?
No,
Isn't
no,
Jimmy Stewart in
no.
Flight of the Phoenix?
Maybe he is, but I don't
original?
know. This is something
Not
from
the Dennis Quaid one.
No.
Dennis Quaid's
no.
playing Megan.
I know.
This is a trap podcast.
This is something from
Movie Baiters.
This is something from the 70s. I forget what it's called.
Intro the show like in the middle of the show.
There's an airplane that's like stuck underwater, and I know that Jimmy Stewart is like gray haired at this point, and like they cart him in to make an extended cameo just so they can put Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart has gray hair, so he probably had a hitch in his cock.
my
Adam.
imagination runs wild, and like what do they have him do in this movie? And I have him
2 inches, one cock.
I envision him being the guy who shows up and like there's an airliner stuck on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
There's an avalanche stuck at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
It's teeter on the edge of an underwater cliff.
Oh, Kirkland dying Farx, do you know who the fuck Jimmy Stewart is? You know the fuck accent
There's 147 souls on board. The plane's stuck halfway between America and England, just like my accent.
Man, Josh Hartnett was great in Trap. Like, every fucking time he was interacting with somebody where he was being overly nice, that's every goddamn interaction I have to have in Minnesota
Sure.
with somebody who's not one of you guys.
Sure. But it was too over the top, and I blame M. Night, and I don't blame Josh Hartnett. He was just taking the direction he was given, and M. Night was using the takes he liked. It was too over the top. Here's the thing.
This movie has great scenes and has a central performance that is amazing, and all 3 actresses that get to play opposite Josh Hartnett shine. Go ahead.
I disagree, but I don't blame the talent. I blame the material.
You're saying it's bad writing?
Yes.
I say it's great direction.
No,
And therefore
it's worse direction.
bad.
It's
It is
worse
not-
direction. It's worse direction than the writing. The writing is bad, but the direction is even worse than the writing.
How so?
Because the performances are all nothing. No one seems like a real person. Like even like, so say when they get to the house and
I've already done the M. Night does weird things in weird places where people don't act naturally.
But why is that a virtue? Why are we just supposed to accept that as a virtue?
People in Coen Brothers movies don't talk that way. People are not that stilted in real life. That's the difference. He's got a style. This is his style,
Sure,
I would argue.
but-
He doesn't do that all the
Well,
time.
let
though.
Kirk have
The
it. Sorry.
directing in Coen Brothers movies are still better than this, though. It's
Why? How is the directing?
Despite how they speak and how they are in those movies, they are still somewhat believable, and they are not as I don't know, weird, weird and bizarre and trap.
Okay, so I'm a father of daughters, and I know that when my daughters want us to go to a concert, we're not gonna walk around outside the concert for way too much of the movie. Like, you're right, there are dumb, stupid pieces of this movie. But I knew that was a contrivance of the plot, because what I care about is how is Josh Hartnett gonna escape the mousetrap? He's an evil rodent. He's a rodent serial killer. How is he going to escape the mousetrap, you know? And he does. And then they take us beyond that. And that made me excited. And then they took us even further into, like, his psychosis with his relationship with his wife. Because he's, like, you know, someone who was able to marry, have children, and still kill 12 people. And then get caught in
well, see, that stuff is
Ariana Grande concert.
That stuff is interesting. And his performance.
What other movie gives you this in the past 5 years? Even though there's 4 movies that are all kind of in this. Like, do you agree that Maxine, Longlegs, and Oddity all kind of play in the same pool as this movie?
That's a complicated question. I don't know. Why do you think they play in the same pool?
Because it's weird serial killing shit. It's like thriller horror shit. And it's like, how much are you willing to accept this bullshit versus this bullshit? I know I'm watching. Here's a dumb example. Here's a really stupid example that is not related, and I intentionally am doing this, is that when Seth Rogen came out of American Sniper, he was like, ugh, this kind of feels like the movie I was watching in Inglourious Bastards, you know, kind of like a glorified. But his argument was, well, I never not know I'm watching a movie. So, like, when I go to a movie, I never not know I'm watching a movie. Therefore, I accept some level of something that doesn't make sense with the reality I know, because I went to a movie to explain to me a reality that I didn't know that I'm trying to understand.
You're talking about suspension of disbelief, and then
Yes.
but mine is much lower. Oh,
Yours is different.
Mine's lower, and it depends on. So, you know, take movies like take a movie like, well, you know, especially when we talk about horror comedies, right?
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead,
Zombieland.
Shaun of the Dead, Zombieland. I tend to think
So
back
you're saying
further.
this movie's funny just so that we can zero in? Are you saying this movie is a horror comedy?
I wouldn't even call it. It
It's not.
it doesn't know what it is enough itself. It tries to be too many things, and it never commits to any one of them to be any one of those
As
things
fellow
fully.
creators to M. Night, if he would even deem us to be peers in that way.
Oh,
no, but genuinely,
if you'd be so kind.
yeah. I genuinely am saying I would rather people take big swings and miss than not take any swings at all.
I don't think that's what we're arguing here, though.
How so?
Yeah.
Kirk, go on that, please.
We're not arguing whether or not he took a big swing or not. We're arguing if the writing and the directing was bad.
Execution.
Yeah, execution was.
John Wick.
Sure, I would say the writing is kind of even thin in that, because it's more of an action movie than a story narrative driven movie.
Wait, but when I went to see an M. Night Shyamalan movie, was I entertained? Was there some? You get what I'm saying?
We keep coming back to where I was entertained.
No,
but
that's why I'm bringing in John Wick, because it's like, hey, I went to the movie to see this, and I knew I was going in to see M. Night Shyamalan, and I like what he did. I liked Old. I liked Knock at the Cabin. I like Glass. I like Split. Like, I'm on board, and I've actually come to like visit. To be
Well,
honest with
here,
you.
here. If we're gonna talk about expectations, I went to the movie to see this. The trailer seems very grounded in reality.
Okay.
And like, here's like, I think the premise itself is better than the whole movie. Like, I mean, like,
Well, haunted swimming pool. You know what I mean? It's like the premise is so cool that
I don't.
can you live up to it?
I don't think that's cool, but like,
Sorry.
that's like the fucking Amityville horror sequels they did in the 90s, where it's a haunted lamp, it's a haunted clock, it's a haunted mirror, it's a haunted dollhouse. Like, you know, it's a haunted this or it's a haunted that.
I love lamp.
Yeah, I love lamp, I love dollhouse, I love clock. You know, so that's just like fill in the blank with the object, and that's like what Brick Tamlin would do. But like,
I'll fill in the blank with some objects.
So, I'm talking about like, what was I expecting? Well, it looked like a pretty straightforward, like it looked like a pretty serious, like it was going to take itself seriously from the trailer. So if we're talking about what you go in expecting,
it had the wrong tone. This is a tone. The tone was off.
Initially, so if the tone is off initially from expectations, I can adjust that.
Where has M. Night gotten the tone right, and where has he gotten it wrong before? Just to maybe
before in past movies.
Yeah. I'm just trying to calibrate to like what we're talking about, because like you would agree he's gotten it right and he's gotten it wrong before.
Yeah, he's balanced humor and horror pretty well in like Signs. I would say Signs because Signs has more humor than like Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense has a little bit of humor. I don't remember Unbreakable as well, so I'm thinking of Sixth Sense and Signs. And I think even The Visit had like a good balance of humor and horror, like the tone. I think of tone like this, like you know, song. You think about songs. Songs are in a key. Like this song is in this key, right? And you don't go
off key.
You don't go. You don't traditionally like hear music that's straying outside of more than one octave. You know what I mean? Maybe two, but like anything above or below that, you're establishing a range, right? From the get go, you are establishing a range, and then if you go outside of that range. And I'm talking about music still. It sounds weird if you go too high or too low from where you've established. And a movie is the same way. You early on, a movie has a very like short time to kind of establish the equivalent of that range, especially when it's something like a horror comedy. But it applies to anything, even when they're not trying to blend genres. If you're trying to do a thriller like Trap, and you're trying to establish like how outside of reality are we going to go? Don't do it. How what the fuck was that?
That's
How
great for audio. Stop.
Yeah. No, so whether it's a blending of genres like a horror comedy where you like we talked about it once before, like you don't go so serious and then go comedic. Like you go like
Cabin in the Woods.
Well, yeah, we didn't. I mean, sure, we didn't.
I'm just giving you an example of something you would agree covers it.
Yeah,
I think Evil Dead Rise also much more horror, but has comedy.
A little bit, but
I would argue Cabin in the Woods pivots enough that it gets interesting, though. That's because it plays on the tropes, and then at the end you find out, yeah, they're playing on it because there's like a game to them, and monsters exist, and that they're playing this set of rules. I think it works.
From a story perspective, it works, but like they manage the tone well.
We all like Cabin in the Woods.
They manage the tone well because imagine if they got super serious, like, oh, this character has cancer, or this character, or like something like that. They got super serious with it, and then went to some of the funnier stuff that they do. Oh, it's a couple of guys in suits in a room. Playing, you know, that would be too big of a change. It's outside of the range. I go back to the music analogy where, you know, here's your range and you don't go above it and you don't go below it, but you have a range to work in.
Can I agree with you by describing one of the Deadpool Wolverine trailers you've seen?
Sure.
One of the things that's been criticized about Deadpool Wolverine is that he's like, these are the 9 people I care about in this picture. And since everything else in the picture is very cynical, it's silly that they gave him a realistic motivation.
I guess I can try. I think I know where you're going. I haven't seen the movie,
You haven't
so I don't.
seen the movie, and like
Yeah.
$800 million of people have seen the movie around the world.
Sure. I'm talking about like, you know, I think back to examples like from the 80s, like horror comedy. You had more horror comedies back in like the 80s. You had
Fright
like,
Night was a horror comedy.
huh?
Wasn't Fright Night a horror?
Yeah, I think Fright Night. I think Lost Boys. I think Evil
85.
Dead 2. I still genuinely like the 2011 Fright Night. I know I'm in the minority on that one, but like,
Because
while questioning some choices it made story wise, I can still overall like it. It's not the same as.
I do not have strong opinions on.
It's
Fright
not
Night
the same as me
2011.
trying to adopt someone else's viewpoint, saying, "Oh yeah, that was a good choice to kill off the best friend very early on." That's one of the things I thought was weird.
Anton Yelchin got crushed by a Jeep.
He got crushed by his own Jeep. That's true. Yep.
Trap. So what I was arguing is that a movie can have good direction, bad writing, and you're arguing that it has both bad writing and baddest directing.
Well,
I would argue because it's always entertaining, that's good direction. Some of the setup you don't like, it's like a story versus screenplay thing. Like the screenplay, you'd say, well, people aren't talking how they normally would. Sure, maybe I went into an M. Night Shyamalan movie. I went to watch a Hitchcock movie, which took place before 1970. You know, people talk differently than they do now and in the past.
I still disagree just because I wouldn't even say I was entertained. I was engaged because I was actively angry at the movie the whole time I was watching it.
I would love for you to be engaged, just so we're clear.
So I was waiting for the movie to start making sense and to start being good. So I was engaged in that way.
It was never good in the way that you wanted it. So here's
I just wanted it to make sense. I just wanted people to start. You know, I was sold a movie that seemed grounded in reality, and I'm watching a movie that's populated by aliens. So
I recently got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood
great
on disc.
Awesome.
And I was thinking about, oh damn, Quentin Tarantino, who I believe coined the term M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. And since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I've gotten Old, Knock at the Cabin, and Trap. And I am thankful for those 3 movies. And if I had to decide, do I want the movie that introduced me to Austin Butler, because I didn't watch Disney Channel, or do I want these 3 movies? I'd rather have 3 swings in a wild direction than the assured, execution of Quentin Tarantino. He's called Tarantula.
Sure.
I don't even think the swings,
Go ahead, Kirk.
I don't
Hit
even
it.
think the swings were that big with these movies.
The screams? The
The
what?
swings were not that big with these movies. Old, spoiler alert, it's the island that literally just turns you old. That's it. There's nothing more interesting than that.
It's the execution. The execution is entertaining. What we're arguing about is, are you willing to sacrifice some suspension of disbelief for entertainment? And I am willing to sacrifice even more suspension of disbelief because it is M. Night Shyamalan and he has given me so many experiences, though I can admit I've seen Lady in the Water on disc. I haven't seen The Happening. I tried to watch The Last Airbender. I've never tried to watch After Earth. I've seen The Visit. I love it. I own it. I've seen what came right after that, Split. I loved it. I own it. I saw
What about Stuart Little 2? Because he wrote that.
I did enjoy Stuart Little 2 at the time it came out because I was
think
a child.
This goes into a bit of semantics then, because you're kind of arguing outside the movie. We're talking about the movie as it is.
Yeah. So
this is the
Kirk.
movie as it is. But you are arguing that since you know there's a M. Night Shyamalan movie, you're giving that a leeway.
A new M. Night Shyamalan experience is what was in the trailer.
You're giving it lower expectations.
Different expectations because I know I'm going into a certain reality. Can I make the argument in the way that we've been arguing? Is like, you guys are saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying it could be a good bad or a bad good. And you're saying like, oh, it could have bad writing but good direction. Or it could have good writing but bad direction. You're both saying it has both bad direction, bad writing. So what I did before Nick got here and killed me in the bet that made me so mad at him, which is not related to Trap, so we're going to keep going, is that I showed Kirk a movie and I'd like him to talk about it.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or
no,
we're watching right
Army
now,
which has so much to do with Trap. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
So Army of the Dead, I was showing Kirk.
Great.
And I was arguing to Kirk that Zack Snyder, great director.
I
don't know.
I like
Terrible writing.
I like Dawn of the Dead after that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
And what did he do on Dawn of the Dead?
What you mean? Are you asking like what? In what respect are you asking me what he did? Directed. He didn't write. James Gunn wrote it.
So you get my point.
I liked what he did. Like, I mean, he had a style that I liked. Like,
I'm not asking you to defend Zack Snyder, but you can. I'm interested to listen. I'm trying to relate this to M. Night.
He showed, he was showing us things that I can't recall seeing before. Like in the opening sequence, it's a pretty long opening sequence when she is, when Sarah Pauli is like escaping from her husband, like the way she did the little girl walks into the room and turns and is a zombie and then attacks the husband. And the husband turns, the husband, what does he do? He's got the camera mounted on, I think it's the hood. I think the hood of the car where you see her in the frame in the driver's seat, but you see out the back and you see him running on foot after the car.
Just fast zombies.
And her, they run. And Return of the Living Dead did that first. I watched Dawn of the Dead. I'm like, well, this is 2004. Return of the Living Dead was 1984, maybe 85. This is like a 20 years later, like rehash of Return of the Living Dead. But like they did Fast Zombies first, I think. But
28 Days Later came out before.
28 Days Later was 2 years before Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, so Zombies.
But also that still means 1985 was still before 2002.
I'm just talking about who made it cool in the 2000s because because of Blade, we have the black leather in X-Men.
Sure. Okay.
It's who made it coolest.
So when she turns the corner and the camera doesn't move relative to the car, but the camera's mounted to the car, and when she turns the car, it becomes a camera. It becomes a pan on him as he runs off and goes attack someone else. There are little touches like that I thought were cool. Overall, I mean, it was an entertaining movie, and and that's a good example of horror with comedy. Good, sure, yeah, good directing.
And that's what I'm saying is like Zack Snyder is a better director than he is a writer. And M. Night Shyamalan might be a better director than he is a writer. I would argue
Probably.
I like both his directing and his writing more than I like Zack Snyder's directing and writing on the whole.
Sure.
Though M. Night's made, and well, like both these guys are cool. I'd see either of the movies because, I mean, not Rebel Moon Director's Cut Part 2, but, generally speaking, I stand for what they're doing in the sense that it's interesting, it's unique. They're trying to do something new within the established system. We literally have Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead playing on mute in the background while we discuss Trap.
And this looks like absolute crap compared to Dawn of the Dead. The digital, he's insisting on running around with this f.95 fucking lens all the time. Well, the lighting. I mean, it's fine for now, but like,
can I hit you on Trap though? What did you think of the cinematography of Trap? Because it was shot on film and film.
Yeah, that's probably the best aspect of it. Probably the only good aspect of it is how it looked.
Good aspect. Like it was shot well and looked good.
It looked good. Yeah. The thing about these things is that you can generally get when it's a, if it's a genre blender or like a horror comedy, like look at James Gunn with Slither, which didn't do well at the time when it came out, but like it's a cult favorite now. All these things, they establish their tone very early on, and you kind of know what you're getting. Going into this, you still think that you're watching like what's supposed to be like a serious movie. There are no cues that, oh, this is going to be like a jokey, like.
Can I agree with you but disagree with you in the same way, or am I cutting you off?
Kind of, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No,
go ahead.
Hit
go
your
ahead.
point.
Go ahead.
Well, because it's shot on a film, it's like an argument you've made in the past is that audiences can feel that kind of thing, because that's your argument against Beetlejuice, is that is shot digitally and the first one was not. Therefore, you can feel it when you see the sequel. And in Trap, it's shot on film. So, director M. Night Shyamalan has an aesthetic that shows he cares about cinema, even though we may not agree with all of his story and separately screenplay choices. I'm sorry.
Great. Who cares? Like,
it matters because we're saying, is it a good bad or bad good? Did Kirk hit us?
It matters, but that is not the crux of this argument that we're.
Yeah, like you can shoot it on film all you want, but that doesn't change the writing.
It is
and the
an
directing.
essential, like, it's a 3-dimensional thing. It's the way it looks, the way the story goes, and then this X factor.
There's no amount of like lighting or what medium you're shooting on that can change writing or directing that doesn't properly, like, if you're supposed to know that you're watching like a joke of a movie, you need cues there to inform the audience, and shooting on film isn't that. Like, that's.
But you can feel film, you agree. You've made that argument to me. No doubt.
I can, and some people pick up on it subconsciously. Generally only, you notice that most movies are shot digitally, and most people are not pointing out, oh, it looks cheap. They tend to only do it when it's like a sequel to an older movie that was shot on film. So Beetlejuice, Scream,
times on this podcast.
Jurassic Park, The Fallen Kingdom was shot digitally, I believe. It was. I think it's the only one shot digitally because Colin Trevorroz's nuts went back to film for Dominion. I guess that's the only kudos I can give to the fucking guy.
Kudos?
To Colin Trevorroz's nuts.
You said kudos.
Kudos.
I heard someone say Yosemite in reference to Yosemite this week.
Okay.
Drove me insane.
Sure. All right.
It was on a major program. Anyways.
So.
Can you imagine, Kirk? Yosemite?
Yeah. I'm imagining right now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yosemite. You love Jews.
Jesus Christ. Because he was a Jew, right?
Yeah.
Continue, please.
So digital, I mean, like, it's a factor. It's most people only usually notice it when it's a sequel to, because then you're drawing a direct comparison. Most people, like 90% of movies are digital, but no one's out calling, most of the time. Some people still do, but like most of the time you're not seeing people, oh, this looks cheap, this looks digital. Because they don't have a point of reference that's so clear. Like when you watch the Beetlejuice 2 trailer, you can look at Beetlejuice and you can see the same character and you can see the same house and whatever shot on film. And same with Dumb and Dumber 2. Like, that's another one that looks super.
One shot on film, one shot on digital, and you can sense the difference.
First one. Yeah, first one is. We won't talk about the second, because Dumb and Dumber 2 is actually the third film, but.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, but the first one, film.
There was a prequel.
And then this Dumb and Dumber 2 is digital, and just you have the same sets, you have the same actors, you have a lot of the things that are the same, and it's just
Zoolander and Zoolander 2.
I never watched Zoolander 2. Ben
Stiller directed it.
Good for him.
Again,
I guess.
but it's not the camera work. It's the narrative. It was
Yeah.
not written well.
Just
So it
we're
doesn't matter
clear,
that it was shot on film. Like it would still be
These-
everything that we think is bad about it would still be bad, even if it was shot, even that it's shot on film, and it would still be. It wouldn't be worse if it was shot on digital. It's still bad that it's shot on film. It doesn't matter.
It would be worse if it looks like crap and was crap. That would be different than if it was.
That would be a different
if it
aspect.
looked
That
great.
looks. That would be a different aspect.
That's what you said
bad,
against
though.
Zack Snyder's. Like all of his shit looks good, but some of it you don't enjoy from a writing point of view.
Wait, what? Zack Snyder?
Well, I'm just drawing comparison to other things. Is that you have said that in comparison, like we're comparing Zack Snyder to M. Night, and M. Night, hey, great direction in some ways. I believed they were at a concert. I don't think they had ever more than 100 extras there,
Okay.
But we all agree it had a great performance. It was never not entertaining, and that being shot on film made it look better. So it's like, okay, so it looks good. It's got a great performance, and it's entertaining. And what we're arguing with is some logic errors, or
I'm not even gonna agree that it's entertaining though. Like I was.
Oh, now you're going. It's not entertaining. Okay.
I never agreed it was entertaining.
When were you
He
bored?
said engaged.
Okay,
No,
it was
you're making it binary, like either bored or entertaining.
okay.
I was not bored. I was continually angry and frustrated with it, like waiting for it to, like right from the get-go. I'm like, this dialogue is fucking terrible. I hope it gets better. So I'm engaged, hoping that it gets better. That's different than being entertained though.
What about the dialogue was bad for you?
Everything was just so cranked up to like, it's so not subtle.
It's-
like,
Kirk's-
It's
like Kirk.
all exposition. It feels like all they're talking about is information. Like when he goes to talk to his daughter's friend's mom, that's
Yeah.
like super exposition. Oh, our daughter had a fight, and then let's schedule a time so that they get meet up and make up. But it doesn't really lead up to anything, and they just keep talking about it over and over.
it doesn't pay off
So
in
you
anything. in
didn't
any way.
laugh when the mom got the soda thrown on her?
Who cares if we laughed when she got? It doesn't fucking matter in the
Because
grand scheme of
I
the
had
movie.
built a relationship with that woman, and I had, she told me she had a dark side in the second interaction I had with her, and I was going, no, you don't have a dark side, bitch. You're talking to the butcher.
Who cares?
That makes it fun. It's entertaining. Sorry, Kirk.
Come on, dude.
Sorry.
I gotta put my hand
That
on that.
makes it fun.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, I just felt the entire movie felt very exposition heavy. It wasn't really normal dialogue that you, I don't know, talk to your daughter's
wait.
friend's
Can you guys
mom
give me an example
normally.
of an M. Night Shyamalan movie that has normal dialogue? I'm sorry. I've just, tell me
Sixth Sense has
Sixth Sense
pretty
people-
real. I feel like Sixth Sense. I don't watch
When
Sixth
was the
Sense.
last time you watched it?
I actually within the last month I watched a fair amount of it actually, and
Why is that?
I don't know. I felt like revisiting it.
It's on. Where'd you watch it? Because I'd rewatch it again. I've rewatched. That's a movie I've rewatched probably every 3 to 4 years since it's come out. So I've seen it like 6 or 7 times.
I don't know. It might have even just been the movie clips YouTube, where they put like 10 scenes up. You know what I mean?
And so I watched Harry and the Hendersons.
Great. I'm sure that's a cinematic masterpiece too.
I haven't
crap.
seen it. No.
I saw it in the theater when I was 3.
Wow, 3 years old.
My
you
my
remember
3
that?
and 4-year-old love it.
Vaguely. Huh?
My 3 and 4-year-old love it.
That's
I mean,
great. I liked it when I was 3.
Because of this,
Yeah.
if you're hearing this and I haven't given my daughters the Harry and the Hendersons Blu-ray that I've had in the gift bag for a while and just
Wow.
not shown them, because I
A
can't
gift
just
bag.
get something in the
Why
mail.
is it a gift bag?
Because I get things in the mail that I want to give them at some point, but I don't want to just randomly
It's
give
like
them a bunch
a
of
nice
things.
little treat every now and then. Yeah, I get it.
Yes,
Mhm.
to give an example that Nick I hope will get upset with is I recently gave them VeggieTales, the 25th anniversary.
Why? Why would you do that? Did it just kind of mush? Like it's that very.
My 3-year-old very much loves VeggieTales, the books, and because they're still making books of it, and very Christian religious minded folks might buy that for their grandchildren, and then you might be asked to read that every night if you have a 3 and 4-year-old. So then having the DVDs of 8 different stories plus 2 full-length features for under $10.
It's a lot of Christianity.
Well, actually, none of the stories are the religious stories that the VeggieTales did. It's weird. The only one is Jonah and the whale.
So there was an equivalent. My grandma used to give me the videos, VHS tapes of a character who was like, they're slyly like brainwashing you.
Become a Christian, Nick.
To be a Christian.
We
with
made
these
this,
videos.
we made
and
this
it worked.
cartoon.
It worked for a while, and then I like.
You were a Christian for a while,
and then like fucking Tim Robbins at the end of Shawshank Redemption. I broke
came
free.
out of the shit tube.
Eventually, I would crawl through the shit tube, and then I realized I'm not brainwashed anymore. So I was Gerbert. He was a puppet character, but he would interact with humans. It was like live action. It was like puppet. Yeah, this fucker.
Kirk, time check.
So
definitely seen that guy.
Yeah. So I had a bunch of tapes of this guy.
Where are we?
We're gonna break the illusion. We're an hour and a half in.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So Gerbert.
Yeah. So I had the same thing where I got a bunch of these tapes and I watched them. I liked them, and even though it was like Christian propaganda, but then eventually I grew a mind of my own. And
can I hit you with something that?
Go ahead.
Young, much more diverse filmmakers than myself, I say this too. All movies are propaganda, and to pretend that they're not is disservice to anyone, and especially yourself. So, all movies are propaganda.
For something, yeah, but for what?
Yeah. So, like, all movies are propaganda. Start there, and then move from there. That's why they're fun debate, and you should take different, points of views. Sorry, I realized I hit the levels.
No, you're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. So the main thing, like, it does. You go into this movie thinking that it's going to be pretty serious, right?
I didn't. But
well,
okay. No,
why wouldn't you, though?
Expectations have been a big conversation in the last couple episodes, but.
And like his last movie was Knock at the Cabin, and like
you didn't see it all the way. I love that movie.
Sure,
Kirk
but
did
like,
too.
but that was like not.
But it was a very serious film, though. Wouldn't you expect that for his next movie?
It was also I do not commit him to the tone of his last movie.
But
and
then,
even though
isn't that your argument that you?
I do not exclusively commit him. Like he's got a range, right?
Sure, but if you already...
The Visit to Split is a range.
But if you already going into Trap, thinking that it's gonna be a serious movie, and then it kind of takes a dip...
So my issue is that it's a haunted swimming pool to me. It's serial killer at a concert is just so dumb. That's not... Like, the thing it's based on is not even that, because... The thing it's based on is a 1985 sting called like Operation. Look it up. Just Google what is Trap based on. It's Operation F Word, where they got like the FBI to, or no, it's U.S. Marshals, not the FBI. U.S. Marshals who investigate like a lot of like treasury fraud and that sort of thing. So like U.S. Marshals, yay, and they arrested like 3,000 people in 10 different stings where they were like giving away Washington Commanders tickets. But in 1985, the Washington Commanders weren't called that.
Okay.
Going into Trap,
No, but that's what it's based on. They arrested thousands of people.
But
That's what I'm
given
saying.
that, I mean, if that's like the background or the backstory, like it should be clever then, right? If the story is clever, because
Haley Mills is clever. Hiring her is clever. So, like, what is your version
That's
of
a
clever?
casting stunt.
Get
If
a
anything,
different-
that's a casting
No,
stunt.
okay, let me explain this. Okay, in the story, in Trap, you have a very clever serial killer who is able to get away with things. He is literally walking around the stadium and unable to be detected,
Fooling
by
cops.
fooling this big time profiler who we don't even get backstory for. She's
She's got
completely
10 of 'em.
pointless. She gave a voice on the radio, and she basically was a voice on the radio, anyways, which is terrible.
You wait. Why is that terrible? Why is it? Because it was funny every time we heard her. It's like she's on to Josh Hartnett.
Again,
He's fucked.
exposition. All she's there to do is give us exposition. She's telling you what the killer is.
All
who he
dialogue is exposition,
his
kind of like all
thoughts.
movies are propaganda. I'm sorry, but it's just. Is the exposition enjoyable? Sorry.
I don't think it is enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah,
she's
no,
not giving the information in a entertaining way. She's just telling you, "Hey, the bad guy's here. The bad guy."
He's gonna pull the fire alarm.
Oh,
Oh wait,
he's got a thing on his wrist, and then he puts the wristband on.
I
That was
also
hilarious.
expected her to be smart or as smart.
Smarter.
as-
Again,
him, as
these
the
are the
serial killer.
Butler Secret Service team.
here's the thing.
Sure.
So okay, when you really step back and think about it, okay, so how did their surveillance footage make out that little tiny tattoo
Yeah.
on his wrist? That's stupid. That's
But they
stupid.
can't tell he's 6'4".
and their range of suspects included a white male in his 30s all the way up to an older black guy. If you had surveillance footage that could tell you that he had the rabbit tattoo or whatever it is on his wrist, you would know he's not black.
Yeah, right.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
You're saying no black man can have a wrist.
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if they knew that he had the tattoo, they would be able, if they had enough clear footage, they would know that he's not black.
Wait, did they know the tattoo because they had footage of it?
I don't care how they know they had that tattoo.
She says it
I
over the
question
thing.
that too, but they said that they had it.
They
And
said they knew he probably had a tattoo.
They said he has a tattoo of a rabbit on his arm. And so if they're saying that, it doesn't matter about tone. It doesn't matter about expectations from M. Night Shyamalan's past movies. It's what's going on in this movie and what's being said in this movie. And they said that they know that he has a rabbit tattoo because of surveillance footage. And if they have that footage, they should know that he's not an 80-year-old black man.
They said
It's
80-year-old
stupid.
Black man.
They said an elderly black man.
Right.
They should know that that's not. They should have narrowed it down. The fact that they didn't, that's stupid. That's what we call stupid.
80-year-old black man.
And there's nothing enjoyable about sitting and listening to that stupidity, no matter what type of movie you're walking into. That just doesn't make sense.
Also, technically, the profiler does not catch him. His wife does. Even that scene when he was eating the cake or what was that?
Where he took his shirt off?
Yeah,
Are you pro or con him taking his shirt off?
I don't care if
cares?
he took the shirt off, but it's like you're a serial killer. You're about to be caught. Don't eat anything that your wife gives you or anybody gives you. It could be drugged. That's like basic common sense. Why would you?
So that's.
Man, if I was a serial killer, I
That's
know what
stupid.
to eat.
I mean, he's hungry. He's hungry after all the activity at the He Wants Some Pie.
Why would you do that?
That's stupid, but also what's even more stupid about that scene, or equally stupid maybe, how did she know? Like, how did she just know to get what drug? We never heard about him
What
using
kind of drug
drugs
is it?
on his
Yeah, he
victims
used
before.
carbon monoxide to knock out the one Asian man that got saved by
No.
carbon monoxide.
No, that was the no. That's not.
That's
That's
why he
not.
knocks him out when he carves him.
That was
he
going
knocks
to.
him out and then
No.
carves him
That's not how he caught. That's not how he catches them.
No, it's how he kills. He knocks him out.
No, he's killing them by.
He would have activated the carbon monoxide to kill him if M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, who becomes the main character for 20 minutes, inexplicably, if she alerted authorities or anyone else of import, he would have triggered that to kill the man chained up in the basement.
It did piss me off that the bodyguard from the car. How is he waiting in the car? And then he was dead. He had to have been dead for Josh Hartnett to have taken over when he did.
Also, another complaint is like, he has superpower abilities when it's convenient. How did he get out of that limo and into a disguise?
They were surrounded. Yeah.
How does that happen? Like, he has
How did he
superpowers.
pull the wire off the bike at the end?
These are just too many. There are just too many of these things. Like, and there's not enough of a cue. Like, movies that are like horror comedy is like a good, or any genre blending is a good example, because they have to like set the stage early on for how they're blending the genres. They have to give you an example of how they're blending the two genres and what the tone is going to be, but that which kind of extends to any movie. And like, you start off with this movie that it feels like it's going to be grounded in reality, but it's just got really bad dialogue. It's got really bad, like, from the moment when they're in the car driving to the concert, I whispered to Rachel, like, this dialogue is fucking horrible. Like, it's so over the top. Like, so we're gonna have a good time, aren't we? Like, that's no one talks like that.
Weird person. He's a serial killer.
But she doesn't react to him. She's not reacting. She should be. If that was the case, she should be reacting to him.
He's always been weird.
She should be reacting to him the way she does later on, which she's like kind of the only person who reacts normally.
Dad, why are you being weird?
Why are you being weird?
Then she's the one that goes and hugs him while the son goes and hugs the mom.
Sure.
When he's being hauled off? Yeah. I mean, sure. Eventually, yeah. Like, if your dad's getting hauled off to prison or being carted off, you're like, yeah, you're probably gonna hug him.
I hope so.
But that doesn't explain away the fact that his dialogue is just, in the beginning, is supposed to just be taken at face value and just like, this is normal. And then there's the whole thing with him being, so he's this, oh shucks, golly gee, like, demeanor that he has is way too over the top.
Oh, I love that. I assumed that was a Minnesota impression.
I mean, I blame M. Night for the direction in that regard more than Hartnett, because Hartnett's good in that scene at the table eating the pie, even though the scene doesn't make sense. He's good in it. So,
he's
like,
entertaining, he's engaged.
I know he's good, so I have to blame the direction when he's being too over the top, like, hey, do you know why all these cameras are up? Do you know why all these police are around? Like, no one talks like that, dude. Like, come on.
Oh, that I loved. I thought that was so natural to how, like, you would try to sound nice to somebody. Because, like, you must at work try to sound, oh, well, maybe you don't. You don't run into people where you, like, fake being nice and, like, not lowering, but taking a higher tone so you seem less threatening.
I do it, but guess what I do? Mm-hmm. I don't go over the top with it so that they know that it's fake.
Well, how would they know it's fake unless they knew you?
People have a general understanding of there's a range of what's normal and what's not normal.
I'm not confident of that, but continue.
Well, I am confident of it, and like there's a certain standard, I think, where if I was like like this, they would know I'm faking it. Like, so I
just think you're happy.
No one's that happy in this day and age. So
well, that's because you're
especially when you just got rejected for a T-shirt. I mean, come on. Right.
You just got rejected for a T-shirt?
Yeah, because he was trying to buy a T-shirt and then the other girl took it from his daughter. That I also didn't like. Like,
you have good values as a family.
Yeah, this one interaction.
I'm going to tell you all the security detail because you
were a good dad.
Just because you said stupid. No
and let this other girl take a T-shirt. Like, what?
You know what?
What?
Guys, I'm going to take a knee on this one.
Yeah.
You beat me. Mostly I have to pee, but like... At 100 minutes in, longer than the movie, I'll take it. You're right. Can we end on this? Would you ever watch this movie again, Nick?
No, I have nothing to gain from watching it again.
I will watch this again with my wife and make a final determination. I will report back if I remember. It doesn't matter. This is a linear podcast. Linear. Sorry.
The premise had me. The premise had me thinking this was going to be good because I thought he was going to be pulling off some like really like clever shit. But all he does
Jigsaw?
is all all he does is just get lucky a lot of times.
Yeah, I just feel like he gets lucky.
But he's also got
More
skill
so.
because he knows how to like steal the guy's card and then walk in with confidence to a bunch of cops.
He doesn't know how to steal the guy's card. He gets lucky to be in a position where he can easily steal the guy's card.
He
that's
puts himself
different.
in that position.
And then
by-
No, he
It's a
doesn't.
cold
No,
word.
the guy lets him. The guy lets him come into the back room with him.
Sure, because he asks
and all this came about because, like, how could he have known that telling his daughter, "Oh, you let the other girl get the shirt." There's no way anyone could know that could be if their plan hinges upon this. That's a bad plan.
Well, we also see him see opportunities that he doesn't get to take by taking oh, hey, look, we should go investigate under the floor. And like, that would have been an interesting version of the movie, but clearly stupid. But because the movie is kind of off kilter, maybe he and his daughter will go under the stick. You know what I mean? When that happens and it doesn't. So I argue with you that he knows how to take advantage of convenience in that situation. He didn't plan it.
Well,
And to argue that
everyone
he was
knows how to
planning
take
it would be
advantage of convenience.
ridiculous.
It doesn't make you a genius to not take advantage of convenience.
But he creates the situation.
No, he didn't. He doesn't
I think
create
he
He
anything.
created the situation. Oh, sorry.
He doesn't
I think
create
the only
anything.
moment he creates the situation is the part where he put those two things in the fryer and then it explodes.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly. That's
yeah,
the only
takes
thing.
The apron and goes to the roof.
But then how does he get out of the roof situation by having taken off the information? Like he asked
Because
for it.
luckily, the
He
person
asked
whose
for it.
apron he stole had their
had
their
card.
identification card in it. Luckily,
That was too convenient. I'll give you that. Again,
The whole thing was too
I was gonna take the
convenient.
knee because I got to pee.
the
I was
whole.
gonna take the knee. You win this bait. I got to pee.
Here's the thing.
It's 18-1 because this is episode 19. Anyways,
I
sorry.
wasn't keeping track.
I don't know what's keeping you track.
This movie sucks. It might be worse. It might be worse than Night Swim, but that's a tough call. 'Cause that's pretty bad. There's so many mistakes that like
Night swimming trap. They're just grinding my gears. Goddammit.
generally like you want the protagonist to be like, who was the protagonist? He was protagonist for a while. Then it becomes M. Night Shyamalan's daughter for
Kirk,
like
please
20
stop.
minutes.
I gotta pee.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up because one of my brothers has to pee, so we're gonna end this early. Abruptly.
You won. You won,
Yeah.
Kirkland Yang.
All right, I'll end
Farx?
this
Yeah, this movie
Kirkland
sucks.
Farx.
because I'm a sore winner.